What's going on, guys? It's your boy Slayer Extreme TV. Welcome back to our ARK DevKit series for ARK Survival Ascended. It has been a while since I've posted and even made a video, but today we're gonna go over a couple of things for little updates and tidbits here and there that I might have missed, and as well as the next couple of videos that you may see of the series. They're gonna be update videos for different things we've already talked about. For example, smithy, dinos, you know, tools, armor, whatever the case may be, and then we'll go into more detail with how to create different structures, how to use different buffs and different things like that, creating, you know, dinos with special attack type of information, you know, those sorts of things, hopefully through the series after we do these updated videos. Appreciate all the love and support that you've given my channel and this series thus far. I hope you will keep on doing that, guys, and I really much appreciate it. All the links are down below in the description if you want to check out all the other social media I have that I know I'm not very active on, but I hope to get very active on soon. And come join the community Discord. You can, if you're a fellow dev, you can talk with other devs that have joined the Discord and community, and you can talk with me directly as well, and we can all help each other out and develop our craft and get better at what we love to do. Besides that, let's get right into the video. All right, so the first updated video we're going to be doing is working on creating your own smithy. So you should have already created your mod folder. So if you haven't already, we'll go quick, create mod, and you just start with the blank mod. Once you click blank mod, put your mod, excuse me, mod name, as well as, you know, and then you can fill out the author, which is basically yourself, and then the description. And you create mod, and basically what you will do is it will create a standardized mod that's not going to have anything in it. You'll see these three pop up in your mod folder along with some extra stuff. If you're not, you shouldn't really be needing any of the extra stuff. The only things you need is the mod data asset, primal game data, and the test map, just, you know, just so you can test your mod in your own very own map area that's attached to the primal game data itself, right? Now, you want to also make sure you rename the end of all of these. As you can see, we named the end of ours test mod, and test mod. If you don't rename the end of them, and you try to push the mod, it's never gonna go, it's not gonna work. Basically, it will always fail on CurseForge, and you'll be wondering what the hell is going on. Anyways, let's get it right into what we're really here for. We're gonna create our own smithy, and we're gonna, excuse me, we're gonna start from scratch. Now, we know from the beginning, the first video I ever created, or I think it's the second video, I don't remember, but the video I created our custom smithy for y'all guys, y'all know we need 4 different blueprints for this to work. So let's search up anvil. This should give us what we're looking for. So we have anvil bench, which we need that for Ingram, inventory BP, primal item BP, and this, and the storage box. Normally you won't see, now keep in mind, some items it's not going to have storage box anvil bench or storage box fabricator. It could be just the simple name of the structure that you're going to be creating. So keep that in mind, because you really need a blueprint. So you need this blueprint itself for any structure, as far as I have come to understand. And it's not going to always say storage box. It could just be the name of the structure itself. Keep that in mind, or it could be some long name that makes no sense. All right, so we're going to drag all 4 of these blueprints. We're going to create our copies and drag them into our mod folder. Why is it preparing shaders? Whatever. All right. So now we got all 4 BPs that you literally need for this structure to actually work. And this goes for any structure. You're always going to need these 4 different things. You're always going to need the Ingram entry. You're always going to need the primal inventory BP. You're always going to need the primal item structure, as well as the storage box, as well as the blueprint itself. And like I said, it's not going to always say storage box at the end, so don't get in the habit of looking for storage box. Okay, so we're going to rename all these. We'll name it test bench. just for the video, you know. All right, so once we get all these renamed, I'm gonna go through the process of how I personally go through each individual step. You do not have to follow each step to the letter. Once you get in the habit of creating your new structure, you go in order that works for you based on what you believe is faster or more efficient, okay? So first thing first, we're gonna open up the Ingram and we're gonna link our primal item structure to the Ingram itself. I always, for me personally, I always make sure there's no Ingram requirement sets because I just want my structure to be unlocked and that's it. I don't want any requirements from any other Ingram in the game or in the mod itself. So personally, we're gonna make all of our new stuff and things level 1 with no Ingram points. You don't have to do that. So you just set up your own character required level for people to learn the Ingram. Words are very difficult for me, sorry. Of course, if you want Ingram points to be required, you can. I normally put 0. And give blueprint to inventory is basically if it's not checked, you can't craft it in your character's inventory. If it's checked, you can. That's you know, that's very, very self-explanatory. So hopefully you guys do not get confused. Can be manually unlocked. If it's not checked, no one can unlock it. You'll have to come up with a different method, like some people, like I've done, to where you can unlock Ingrams through killing a specific dino or specific boss for your mod or something in particular in that manner, but it has to be tied to your mod to be able to be unlocked. But for us, for the video, everything's gonna be unlocked manually so we can show you exactly what needs to be done. Now, if you're new to making anything within the dev kit, whenever you open up your own window for the blueprint itself, since we're working in the Ingram entry right now, these little 3 dots next to compile, if you come over here and click them, hover over save on compile and say on success only, it will always compile and save your BP that you're working in if it's successful, meaning if there's any issues within that blueprint that you need to fix, it's not going to compile and save your window at all, and you'll have to go through and figure out what's causing the issue and what needs to be fixed or changed or adjusted. But I would suggest also, even though this is set to on success only, I would also get into the habit of hitting compile and save, the save button right here, the little floppy disk, because you want to always just be sure that everything's getting compiled and saved. If it's not getting compiled and saved, it more than likely will cause issues, or all the hard work you probably put into it isn't going to be saved and you'll have to redo it. Now, our next little thing, we're going to go into the primal item structure. This is where the majority, where some of the magic happens. Now you can scroll down. We're going to look for a description. We're going to name it test bench. Oh, OCD, need to make it that. You can, the item description, you can do whatever you want. For this, we're just going to leave it the same. Excuse me. But that's one of the main things you want to get in the habit of. You know, we're always going to change the descriptive name because you know, you're going to want your structure to be unique in itself. Now, crafting requirements. This is basically where you are going to want to determine what crafting resources are going to be used to craft your item. Now, for us, we are literally just going to do 1 thatch, just because this is all for the video. Now, this works for any resource you may have created for your mod, and I'll be making videos on creating your own modded resources because you can use those as well. Now, that's all. Now, we almost are done. Now, if you want to change the icon, you can change the icon right here just by simply importing it into your mod folder. If it's or you can change it to look like something else. Like this is a workbench, so we can actually change this to an icon table. Oh, should be. Let's change it to an icon. Let's change it. Hey, we'll change the icon to the wooden table. All right, and then you see right here where it says structures to build. This is where you're going to be putting the blueprint. That's why I said don't always look for the actual structure box name associated with the BP, because it's not always going to be there. Oh, it could just be the name of the structure itself. So we're going to ensure, that structures to build is our test BP, our test bench. So easiest way, there's two ways you can do it. You can come over here into your files, make sure it's hot, make sure your BP is highlighted, and you can hit the little arrow circle with the arrow in it, and it will attach it. Or you can simply just search the name of it and find it and do it that way. And if you really wanted to, like, we can clear it out, you can even drag it into that location. As long as you've basically linked your BP into your primal item structure, you're good to go for that. And then that's it. Now your primal item structure is completed, but we're not done. All right, next we're gonna go into, we're gonna open up our blueprint itself. We got about four different things to change within the blueprint itself, and then it will be complete. As you can see, first thing we're going to do, this looks overwhelming. It can look complicated, and some people have made them, I've already been told some people make the mistake of when they come into a blueprint that looks like this, or if they are in another blueprint and it's like this, and they come up here to the right to open full blueprint editor so it looks like this. Okay, it can seem overwhelming. Some people may even think, oh well, I don't need this and I don't need this, and then realize, oh shit, I actually need that stuff, right? If you want to get those little windows back, you just come up here within your blueprint window that you've opened up. You come up over here to window, and all you need to do is components, and then you click on my blueprint and it reopens those windows. I had somebody had that do that to themselves and they were freaking out, so I wanted to show that within this updated video of how to make a workbench or smithy or whatever you would call it. Now, one of the first things you want to do within your blueprint, your new blueprint structure, is right here. This is the vanilla primal inventory BP that comes with your structure. You need to delete it. You delete it out of there. Now there's two ways to implement your new inventory BP. One is you can come up here to your components little tab, go to add, and just search for your test bench. Whatever your primal inventory's name, search for it, and you can add it in right there. Bing, bang, boom. Now your custom inventory that we'll be working on here shortly is within your blueprint of your structure, and you will have your structure will have access to it automatically. Now, if you don't want to use that method because you may forget to come up here to add and then search for the blueprint's name, you can simply just come over here to your files in your content browser, and you can drag your inventory into the area, and it's already it's linked, instantly linked. Now within your blueprint, this is where you can add in custom graphs for different things. But because I am not that skilled at graphing as of right now, it's still very, very new to me. I cannot show you or walk you through any of that. Now, one of the things that we're going to do is we're not going to change the skeletal mesh, or sorry, the static mesh in terms of this structure, because we have no need for now. We'll leave that blank, but what we want to do is go ahead and take the static mesh, and we're going to move it over here into our mod, and we're going to rename it. We're going to rename it test bench _ SM, and we're going to link it to our blueprint. The reason why I'm doing that is because if we decide, or in another video or even in this one, because these updated videos are going to be long, I'm going to be honest with you, I am going to show you how you can create your own static mesh, at least the method I use, without ever having to buy or get downloaded from the Epic Store or somewhere else. And you can do all this within the dev kit with no issues. Okay, so now we have our static mesh linked. Now we're going to be looking for is we're going to scroll down until you find structure tag, and this is our test bench. Oh, shoot, test bench. You change your structure tag. You need to change consumes primal item. You need to make sure that it's, see right now it's connected to the vanilla smithy. You need to make sure your primal item structure is connected and associated to here. So you highlight it, click the arrow, and boom, we're linked. And now the only other thing you would technically need to do is type in description, and right here, descriptive name, test bench. Now, we compile, save, and we're done for now. There's probably a couple more steps we'll have to do because the dev kit likes, making new structures. It likes to play hard to get, really, to get it to work. So last but not least, we jump into the primal inventory BP. This is where all the magic happens. This is where you associate all your items, all your, you can make it to where you can craft your dinos from here if you have craftable dinos, all that stuff, right? Sure. Now, first things first, we're going to scroll down. Okay, we're going to scroll down. Crafting speed. This is where this is literally the speed at which your item is crafted within your structure. You want it to craft slower, go below 1. You want it to craft faster, go above 1. So normally what I like to do is this is the server owner talking from, because I've done this since ASE. I always liked having the crafting workbenches that were able to be customized for modders to have 25 times speed, because it's not too fast, but it's not too slow, right? So we're going to set our testing bench to 25, right? Now, right here is you got max inventory items. This is basically how many items can actually be within your bench, and we're going to make that 300. Now, absolute max vanity items is the extra space of your inventory that is not visible. So see it as if your new crafting bench is completely filled with 300 and you're still crafting within it, it's going to basically associate 300 invisible slots that can be used until anything crafted after that is automatically deleted, because there's absolutely no space. So if you want that hidden inventory space that normally is associated with structures, you can increase it with the absolute max vanity items, or you can you can simply do both, which is the max inventory items and the max vanity items, and increase both of those numbers so there's a plethora of space within your crafting station. Then of course you have your inventory descriptions thing. This is basically what you see when you open up the inventory of the structure that you can determine on what you want for your structure. So we're not going to mess with that. Now, as you can see, we have all these default inventory items, right? 182. That's all the vanilla items that was in the smithy that we stole this from, basically. Now, if you want all those items to be there, you can keep them. If not, you just simply delete them. And anything that we do for the future videos, for these update videos and so on, we're going to associate them to our test bench. So we're actually going to get rid of them. But just for testing purposes, we'll do metal pick. Yeah, it is. We'll do this. So we're going to add the metal pick just to show you that the inventory is working when we get into the PIE testing area. And what I get in the habit now, as you saw, that this only had the default inventory as items. From my experience, I don't know how it worked for wildcard and their vanilla items, but I've always done default inventory items and then associated whatever items I have created that I want to be crafted within this bench, and they're in the default inventory items area. However many indexes I've created for these items, I do default engrams, and I associate it by giving it a 1. This is how I always ensured my structures always had my blueprints for the craftable item within the structure. Now, whether or not that is still needed because ASA is completely different, I don't know. But I've always done it, and it's never steered me wrong. So I'm showing it to you guys. Now, if you figure out you don't need it, hey, let us know in the comments down below. And, you know, that's just another method people can use to their advantage whenever they're creating a crafting bench. Now, one thing, another thing you want to ensure that is changed is the inventory name override. This is basically the name. Oh, I can't spell. This is basically the name that you see within the, not just within the inventory itself, but whenever you have an item that needs to be crafted, it's also going to say craft item here. And that's the name that it's going to associate with, which is the inventory name override. Now, besides that, guys, you compile, save it, and anything, keep this in mind, anything that you change or add or remove within your primal inventory BP, okay, you need to come back to the blueprint of your structure, compile and save again. Because the inventory BP is associated with your blueprint itself, any changes within it need to be saved and compiled. At least I would say just save, but I always compile it as well. They need to be saved, and if you want to be super sure, just compile it and save it within the blueprint. Within the blueprint itself, it's always going to show, like if you notice, so if we remove this, we compile and save it, you see that star? It's saying, oh crap, something's changed in the inventory BP. You need to come back over here and compile and save, or just simply save. Let me find that middle pick again. Oops. Okay, see, it's always telling, the file's always going to tell you when it needs to be resaved. Now, you can just save it and it'll fix it. I always like to go back to it and compile it, just in case something may get messed up. Okay, now, the real fun, testing it to make sure that we did it all correctly, right? All right, so what we'll do, we'll go into GCM mode, and we will look for our test. Oh, wait, I've messed up. As you notice, you didn't find it, even though we were in GCM. Well, I almost forgot a step. Now that we created, excuse me, now that we created our blueprint, or crafting bench, I'm sorry, and we have all the things set up, ready to go, right? Now, the last step you want to do, come back in here to the starting point of your mod. Open up your mod data assets, okay? And there's two things that I have known to work for me. Whether or not there's more people have done it differently or have figured you can do it a certain way, that's on them. Props to them for figuring it out. I didn't know what to do with the mod data assets when I originally started. All I knew is that I needed to add the Ingram because it's an additional Ingram, right? So, of course, you can search for the Ingram if you want. Or you can just simply highlight it, click the arrow, or you can drag it just like anything else. But you need to associate your new Ingram to the additional Ingram blueprint classes within the mod data asset, or it's not going to show in your mod, okay? Or sorry, it's not going to show in game when your mod's installed. Another thing you want to make sure that I know works for me, and it's, as far as I know, it has to be done, is the additional structures to place. Because you're placing a brand new structure into the world, I figured, based on my testing, this is how it needed to be done. So what you're associating this, once you create a new element, which is the plus and the circle, how you created a new index basically for your Ingram, same method for this, you're associating it with your blueprint. You can search for your blueprint, you can highlight it and link it right here with the arrow, or, you know, or any other method that I've shown you thus far. Now that you've done that, you save it. Now, to be on the safe side, okay, let me make sure we're in the test map. Okay, to be on the safe side, sometimes the dev kit has an issue that it doesn't show you the new Ingrams you created. Some of the ways that we have figured out to fix that is you should have a world settings tab, probably somewhere over here if you haven't customized the viewing of your dev kit. And if not, you can just come up here into Windows and, you know, enable world settings so you can have it. But you come into your world settings tab, type in game data, and you basically want to remove the primal game data. So, and then you save it, and you come into the test map, and just, you know, it's a, you're associated, you're good, you exit, then you relink it. You relink the primal game data for your mod, so it's always going to be the name that's associated to the end of your primal game data. And then you save it, and then we enter back into it. Now, the reason why we do that is because sometimes the engrams, the new engrams you created, like for your new items, your new structures, whatever the case may be, sometimes won't appear. Sometimes won't appear within the test map for whatever reason. Why that's a thing, I don't know, but that's the easiest way to do it without having to restart your entire dev kit over and over again just to get the engram to be visible within the test map itself. Now, we're going to give ourselves resources. Give resources. All right, so we can craft our bench. And let me get into GCM mode and make a where'd my mouse go? We're gonna make a foundation so we can place this baby. Oh, love the hitching of the dev kit. All right, see, the icon's changed to its test bench. So now it looks like a table, but our test bench really looks just like the regular smithy, right? And then bada bing, bada boom. Here's the metal pick, and now our crafting bench is ready to go. Now, if you don't want your crafting bench or any structure for that matter to have to be, you know, need the requirement of it needs this like a foundation support just to be placed, I'm gonna show you how to change that. It's very, very simple. You open up your storage box BP, because this is where it's associated. Come over here to the details tab on your right hand side of your window and just type in floor. When you type in floor, you're looking for you're looking for this. Requires placement on structure floors. By removing that check mark, okay, you can easily, and once you remove the check mark, excuse me, oh, I'm very gassy. Apologies. Once you remove the check mark, you compile and save it. You want to be sure that it's, you know, you always compile and save before you do anything. We'll come back in here into the test map, give ourselves some resources. Oh, we already got that. Let's look for our test bench. We're going to craft it. And see, now we can place it anywhere on the ground. And bada bing, bada boom, we're set. Right? Okay. Now, say you want your own customized static mesh for your structure so it looks more unique to what you're wanting. It more of a style choice, right? So come into your storage box. Now, like I said, we already have this static mesh right here. This is the static mesh we're looking at, but say we don't want it to look like this. So in reality, we want it to look like our icon. So here's the table. Let's see. Now I have a lot of assets in here, so what we're looking for, here it is. We're looking for the wooden table from vanilla ARK, so this will work properly and y'all don't get confused. So all I did was I went in here. I'll show you. I'm probably going too fast for you. Give me a second. Okay, so what I did was I searched for the table based on, you know, just the wording. I opened up this up, and you can search for any static mesh available you want, right? You search for any static mesh, create a new blueprint, and it's that simple. Now, if I remember correctly, let's see. This is right there, yeah. So the way I found it within the content browser really fast is once I found the static mesh I was looking for based on its name, I basically just assigned it, and I hit this folder with the magnifying glass, so it browsed directly to where the original static mesh is, and I dragged it into our mod so we can then use it as our static mesh. So now we're going to associate this to here, we're going to compile, we're going to save it, and we're going to delete this one just for the simple fact we don't We want our new bench to look completely different, right? Now, we know that our static mesh is always going to be associated to the blueprint, but we want to create something unique. So this is what you do. This is what I do. You don't have to do it. I'll show you two different methods on how this works, okay? If you want an actual static mesh to where it's in a file itself, you can simply do this. Drag your base static mesh that you want out into the world, okay? Which normally you can see what it is through the outliners. And then what you want to do is find more static meshes from vanilla. Okay, so you can come up here, click content, type in static mesh, and you can see all the static meshes that are associated within the game and any type of asset that you may have imported over from like the Epic store or something. And then you can just simply drag it out here. Oh, yeah, that's from something else. That's probably why it looks like that. But see, we can drag it out here, right? And you don't, and like what I'm doing right now, the assets I'm using, you can't really use because these are from a free thing from the Epic store, so don't worry about it. But maybe we want our table to look like this. I'm not going to go into detail because I don't want to overextend. We want to make sure that everything that is out here is highlighted. So essentially, we want to make, here's our bench, and then we want, where is it? Okay, so right here, these two, we need those two highlighted, and we need our bench highlighted. Now, as you can see, that all of our stuff is enabled and clicked on. Now the next step is very simple. You come up here to actor, and you want to come down to here to convert actors, basically converting what we've already selected within the test map, and we want to convert those actors to a static mesh. You scroll down, look for your mod folder, look for the folder you want to establish this new static mesh in, and we're going to name it test bench pot underscore sm. You name it whatever you want, and then we save it. Okay, and boom, now we have a brand new static mesh. Okay, we're going to save it, and boom, now everything is one in itself, meaning you can now get rid of this. As you can see, it's still 3 pieces out there, but within this static mesh, it's one piece with 3 different materials associated to it. Now what we can do with that is we can take it and attach it and associate it into the bench by making sure our static mesh is linked here in the static mesh area of the blueprint. Oh, excuse me, of the blueprint. Compile, and we save it, and boom, brand new static mesh. It's easy. Now there is another method of doing this. So if you want that was more of a creating your own unique static mesh by merging current static meshes together and putting it into one. Now, if you want it to be different to where it's not that many files that you have to have and associated, you can do it in this method. So we're going to link our regular bench back to here, okay? And we'll compile and save it just to be safe. We'll go ahead and delete this brand new static mesh that we just made. And I'm going to show you the way that a lot of people probably do their custom tables and benches and stuff, right? Okay, so we're going to change this wood table. Right, there it goes. All right, so we're going to have this look like the wooden table. And now say we want the mortar and pestle static mesh to be on top of this to make it more unique, right? So you'll come up here to the components, hit add, and either scroll, look down or search to search static mesh. And boom, so now you have this. Now we want to add, you want to come over here, click on the static mesh you just imported. You can rename it if you want to, you don't have to. And you search for a brand new static mesh. So for us, we're looking for the mortar and pestle from vanilla. And we're going to scroll it up. And now your job is, you have 3 different methods. You can use these right here on the right hand side for transform to transform, how you want it to look, how you want it to be angled, whatever the case may be. So for us, we're going to rotate that 90 degrees. We're going to increase the scale of it. So the location, this, you know, you just play around, get it set up the way you want it. And boom. And if you wanted to add more into it, like if you wanted to be more decorative, you want to put obbies on the end of it, you can. As long as it's a static mesh, you just come up here. For every individual static mesh you add to your basically your blueprint, then all you do is come up here, hit add, find static mesh, and you just add something brand new, and you just keep repeating the process over and over again. And you can, if you name it, you can name your static mesh to make it more organized. You can rename it right here in the variable name. You can right click and go to rename. It's up to you. But once you set up everything how it looks in the viewport right here, and you add in all the pieces you want for your new custom bench mesh looking thing you want, compile it, save it, and you can easily come back in here into the play editor. Okay, and what we'll do is we'll spawn it in. We'll come. I like to hit tab so it pulls up the command bar so I can have my mouse, or you can easily open up your inventory and just do it this way. And you just, I'm gonna right click. We're gonna give item 1 on the primal item structure. There's our test bench. And now, look, you don't have that many files, but you got your new bench because it's just, you attached it within the blueprint with your base static mesh. Now keep in mind, whatever static mesh you're associating with, if it's vanilla, okay, if it's vanilla, it's like basically it's in the base game of ARK, you will have no issues, and they will always appear within like the materials that you may be using excuse me, for your static meshes in itself and the item. They all have to be within the base game. If you're using any custom static meshes, they have to be any custom static meshes, any custom materials, any custom textures, they have to be within your mod folder itself in some way, shape, or form. If it is not, then they will not appear, or they will be wonky, or they will break your mod because the main game does not have those associated files within them. Anything customized and not native to the game, material structures, static mesh wise, skeletal mesh wise, anything, if it's not native to the live game that's actually within the live game of ASA as of right now, it won't appear correctly, or it will be completely broken in your mod whenever your mod is loaded on a server. Besides that, guys, I hope, oh, okay, yeah, I'm all bloody, but I hope y'all enjoyed this update video for making your own version of a smithy, and it has a little bit more in-depth stuff than it did before. Besides, oh, real quick, we're not done. Now, if you want to get super more customized than we have already done thus far, now as you can see, we have our table blueprint made up, right? But if we come in here and we type in geo, you can see the soft destruction geo collection asset. This little thing right here is basically, this is what it that's the picture that's associated with your structure on when it gets destroyed. So if we come in here and we spawn in our table that we just finished, right? When we demolish it, when we demolish it and we break, it breaks just like the vanilla smithy, as you can tell, right? Breaks just like the vanilla smithy. If you want to be more unique in terms of making it break like a regular table, which is the base for our structure, this is what you do. Grab your base static mesh, put it out into the play editor, okay? What you want to do is come up here to selection mode, come to fracture, okay? And you want to make sure that the static mesh, you're going to be associating this geo collision on, not geo, I don't think it's called geo collision, the destruction, the geo destruction, whatever. What you want to do is make sure that's associated. You're going to hit new. And now basically what we're doing is creating the file for it. So you want to come all the way down to your mod folder, click the folder you're going to place it in. Yeah, it's geo collection. You can rename it however you want to rename it. I normally like to put GC at the beginning, just so I know. And and that's all you do. That's all you do. Once you go through the process of going to fracture mode, making sure your static mesh in the PIE is clicked, click new, find your folder to save it to, rename it to what you want to rename it. You do create geo collection. You'll see the file pop up right here within your folder or your file that you're associating it with. Now, what we're doing is we're going to fracture it. So there's different forms of fractures you can do. I normally just go with the uniform, and I keep the interval between 10 and 20. And basically what that means is how many pieces the structure is going to break into. Okay. And then once you set the uniform vor, and I don't know how to pronounce that. Once you set these two, you can then come down here and you can click fracture, and it's going to fracture the mesh to where you have your own customized geometry collection to how your structure breaks. And you'll see all of that over here whenever it finally renders it in. So give it a 1 minute, depending on your computer, depending on what you're doing, will probably determine how long it takes. And see, look, it's done. It fractured everything. And now if you want to see how it explodes once it's done fracturing, you can scroll back up and come right here to explode mount. And that's how it's going to break apart, right? Okay. Now we're done. Once you hit fracture, you're pretty much done. You just come back over here, right click on your new file, and you save it. Okay, now we can get out of this, so we can come back up here to where the mode is and click selection, because we're not needing that anymore. We can get rid of this. That's within the PIE. Now we come into our blueprint. We want to make sure that we find this area. The geo. Whenever we come into details, type in the search bar geo. This is the area we're looking for. We're now going to associate our new file to this area. So you want to make sure it's linked. So use any method you've seen already in this video to link it. Compile, save it. And now, whenever you come into test, you have your table. Now when we demolish it, it breaks just like the table. Right? Easy peasy. Okay, easy peasy. Let me see. Yep, that's it. That's all you got. That's literally every single little thing when it comes to making a custom structure, crafting bench, really. So hopefully all this new information and all the updated information helps you guys in developing your own customized and unique crafting benches and whatever other structures y'all may think about. I will be making other videos with, for other structures that you may be curious of how to make, your own fridge, your own spoiler, your own, just anything and everything I can think of to get some content out there for you guys so you can see the different ways of how structures are being made and the different options you have to add possibly to structures you already have created yourself. I hope everything was helpful, useful. I hope it was clear and understandable. Last thing, man, like, comment, subscribe to the channel, especially if you like the video and the content that I put out there. I do put out a variety of content. I do put out a podcast. I stream on my channel. So keep on the lookout for the stream for the future. I'm trying to get on a schedule, so bear with me on that. And that goes for streaming and posting content. Trying to get on a schedule for posting content for the podcast I'm doing with my buddy Bloodhound, aka Stan. I want to give a big shout out to every single modding dev for ASA that's within my ARK community. Well, within my Discord community, I should say, really, who has either shown me, helped me, or worked with me in learning more about the dev kit that allows me to create these videos and put out this information for you guys to take and run with, and hopefully create something super amazing and super unique for ARK Survival Ascended. So big shout out to all those guys and gals that are within my Discord community, specifically only because, you know, I'm consistently talking with them in the chat and talking with them in voice chat as well. But I love you guys. Hope to see you in the next one. Hope you have a wonderful time modding as much as me. Peace.